Hi, welcome to Locally Speaking. I'm Jeff Ondash. Today we've got a really unique program for you. We're at VSN. It's a gym located behind Blue Wolf. I'm sure you've never seen it unless you're an athletic enthusiast and you're training, but they house something here that's called Rocksteady Boxing. And we're going to learn on how Rocksteady Boxing is helping people with Parkinson's disease handle some of the effects of that illness and what they go through. Some of them have tremors, some of them have problems walking, but this program, it is amazing. So sit back, relax, and we're going to learn all about Parkinson's, but we're also going to learn about what Rocksteady Boxing here at VSN at the gym is doing for them. It is an incredible story, one that you sure have not seen yet, and it's going to be a great one for you to learn and listen to. So sit back, relax, and watch this episode of Locally Speaking. And we're back to Locally Speaking. Thanks for tuning in again, and we have a very informative show today, and I'm here with Shannon and Paula. We're going to talk a little bit, let's open up this segment and talk about Parkinson's disease in general, and the misconceptions or I don't even know if it's so much misconceptions, is people just don't really understand exactly what it is. Is it something that somebody is born with and it comes out later in life, or is it something that's contracted? What exactly is Parkinson's?
Well, Parkinson's disease, it is a movement disorder. So simply, neurons are dying off and dopamine is being depleted. And the dopamine is what signals the body to move. And so as that's being depleted, someone who might demonstrate symptoms of Parkinson's, the 5 cardinal signs, it's the stooped posture, it's the rigidity and stiffness, there's the festination, which where they're in the gait of the freezing of their walk, their gait is shortened, and their speech might be slower, and then the tremors, which is everybody usually that's the first sign that everyone associates.
And by tremors, you're meaning like the shaking
Yes.
of the hands or the shaking of the foot.
Yes, and so with Parkinson's, it is difficult to diagnose, and there is no known cause. It has what I've learned is that they can relate it to link it to genetics. It's also just environmental toxins as well, and that has been linked even the question of perhaps brain trauma. And so there's a lot of different symptoms that contribute to it, but there's just a known cause. We keep thinking that there's got to be one soon, a treatment plan other than medications and exercise, but we're hopefully getting closer to a cure.
Okay, I hate to ask the question, but I have to ask it. Is Parkinson's a fatal disorder?
No, not. You can live a very long life, but because it's not a degenerative in a sense where things are shutting down. It's more when your the atrophy sets in from the lack of movement. So you can live a long life with Parkinson's, and the progression is different for everyone. And our goal with Rocksteady Boxing is to slow the progression. And there have been 2 studies to prove that it can help improve the quality of the life and slow the progression. But to say that someone passes as a result of Parkinson's, there's usually other causes as well.
Paul, we were talking before a little bit about ages. Is this something that happens when people reach a certain age and it seems to manifest, or?
I think it can happen at a younger age or an older age. There's a formula on counting how many people have Parkinson's in the United States. There's a certain percentage of people over age 65, but I was in my late 50s, and we've got people in our 50s in our class. I know somebody in their 30s. So I don't think there's a magic age that you're safe if you reach that age and don't have it. I don't think that's the case.
How long does it take before, you talked about 5 steps that happen with this. How long does it take before somebody catches on or realizes that, oh, something's not right with me. I'm not the same as I was a month ago or 2 months ago. I'm slurring a little bit, or I'm not walking correctly. How long does it take for a person to realize they have something going on?
In my case, I didn't realize it. My husband noticed I didn't swing my arm. And he'd say, why are you swinging your arm? And I didn't know. Or he'd carry it like I was in a sling. And he'd say, why are you carrying your arm like that? And I said, I'm going to open the door. Well, the door's 20 feet from here. I was in denial that there was something wrong. I was working and I was busy. I didn't have time for anything like this. And then I tripped at school. I was teaching. I tripped on the sidewalk. And I realized then there's something wrong. So we got it checked out.
So that was the problem with your gait shortening
My
up,
gait.
and was throwing you off a little bit then.
And I've through some of my own research, you have to be your own advocate when something's wrong, or if you're recognizing changes in your body. And that's been the common message that I've learned through just researching. When people, they'll go to their family doctor and they're just like, oh, there's nothing wrong, all the blood work looks great, you know, but it's the neurological signs, and you do need an MRI, and you need to seek being a movement specialist, a movement disorder specialist, if you're thinking that you're not swinging or if you're dropping things. I mean, if it's not your normal behavior and your normal physicalities, that's when you really should just continue to seek out the care that's going to work for you.
So almost a neurologist has to basically find out what's going on. If you go to your MD, and like you said, if you go for a blood test, there's no blood test or no way of doing that. It's a little bit more extensive and invasive to finding out neurologically what's going on inside you.
It's a clinical diagnosis, so there is no one test. You really have to rule out a lot of other things to dial down that it's Parkinson's disease.
So, Paul, you noticed that you were having some problems with your gait, and did you have all 5 symptoms, or you just had maybe 1 or 2 of them, and that was enough for you, and you finally realized it?
Yes, we realized there was something wrong, so I went to my medical doctor, and I ended up at the Cleveland Clinic. I've never had tremors, and that's usually the first sign. My symptoms are my gait, my slowness in movement, rigidity. I lost my sense of smell. The things that you don't commonly associate with Parkinson's, people associate Parkinson's with tremors, and I've never had that. Unless I get stressed. The doctor would ask me, how do you handle stress? I do yoga, and I handle stress through exercise and yoga.
Now, were you doing this before your diagnosis?
I've exercised for years, but I was diagnosed 15 years ago. It was May of 2005. And the doctor has me on a regimen of medicine. I take 10 pills a day, 1 at 3 a.m., because if I don't take the 3 a.m., it's very difficult to get out of bed. I have concrete blocks on my feet. It's just hard to pick my feet up. So if I take the 3 a.m. pill, I get up and I'm ready to go, and I go on with my day. Exercise has made a huge difference. There are many times when it's time to come to class, and I think, I just don't want to. I bring myself over here, and I fly out of here just energized and feel better.
Because of the medicinal purpose of it.
I like to compare my exercise to one of my prescriptions. I take 4 different types of pills. My 5th prescription is to exercise. I wouldn't think of going a day or 2 without taking my medicine, so I shouldn't go a day or 2 without exercising. Exercise is key.
It's basically a medicine for you, though,
It is a
isn't it?
prescription. When I first met my neurologist at the clinic, he said, do you exercise? I said, yes. He says, good. 6 months later, do you exercise? Yes. He said, good. 6 months later, same question. I said, same answer. What do you want me to do? And he said, whatever you're doing is working, so continue with it. And so I did. I used to do aerobics and Pilates and ride a bike. I still ride a bike. But boxing has really made a difference for me.
We're going to get into that in a second. So you said something interesting, though. So when you mentioned the 5 common things that are kind of associated with Parkinson's, everybody's different. So it's a case-by-case type situation. So like you say, you don't have the tremors. That's what people mostly associate with that. So everybody might not have all 5. They might have 1 or 2 or
Exactly.
3 or 4, but not, they might not show what somebody else might show as Parkinson's.
Another indicator is handwriting. My handwriting is really nice when I start writing, and then it dwindles down to nothing. You can't read it. And when I saw my neurologist for the first time, he said, I bet your handwriting is affected. And I said, how did you know? I mean, I was naive, but many of us, you can't read our writing.
Wow. All right, so we've established what Parkinson's is. We've helped out everybody out there and told you a little bit about it. But now the program here at VSN, this is a very unique situation. When you think of boxing, boxing's a very violent sport, and we think of Muhammad Ali, and we associate Muhammad Ali with Parkinson's. And the thing is if Muhammad Ali was never a boxer, we don't know if someday in his older years if it would have manifested in him or not. Head trauma could be something because of the neurological effect it has on men and women after years. That could have been something that could have possibly brought it out. Is that true, or?
It's all in theory. I mean, there are so many non-secondary symptoms. I mean, constipation, incontinence, just anxiety, insomnia. Those are all some of the symptoms that go along with Parkinson's disease that really aren't talked about. Those aren't the 5 cardinal signs. So it's, as I mentioned earlier, just to pinpoint exactly what is the root cause, no one's been able to do that. I mean, there's been, we talked about nutrition, they stem a lot maybe to the gut health, with the inflammation in the body, and postural health, because we really focus on posture. As you notice, someone with Parkinson's, with their posture, they tend to lean forward, and everything is just shrinking. So there's a lot of what ifs, and perhaps this, with Muhammad Ali. And I think everybody wants to blame, or root cause, and we don't have the proof.
No, and like with all diseases, they have charities to go along with it for research, and I'm sure that they're further along in the knowledge than they were decades ago. But the bottom line of all this is really there is no cure for it. There's some ways of helping to maintain you to have more of a quality of life with your medicines. And about how many, now you say you take 4 pills a day?
10.
10 pills.
4 different kinds.
10 different pills.
4 different prescriptions, a total of 10 pills.
Okay, 4 different prescriptions. And is that pretty much the norm for somebody that is on?
I think I'm on a lighter dose than some. Well, when they start out, they're on 1 or 2 pills. But some pills they take more of than I take, the number of pills of certain prescriptions.
There's the pill burden that goes along, because as we learn about our fighters that are here, they're all on different medications and different formularies. So, but when Dr. Benjamin Malter was here speaking at our grand opening, a lot of people that are perhaps in denial with their Parkinson's or don't want to take medicine because everybody responds differently and metabolize medications differently, you need to take the medication to get up out of the chair, to get off of the couch, to go exercise, because you have to keep moving, because the less you move, it's only going to decline from there, and you will more likely progress.
Yeah, because your muscles will atrophy, just like anything else.
Yes.
With an aging process, if you don't get up and move and you don't, it happens with that. So I guess it would be that process is sped up with a neurological disorder. So we talked a little bit about Ali, and he seems to be, I don't want to call him the poster child for it, but he really helped to bring Parkinson's, to light to a lot of people and the disorder. Also, Michael J. Fox, who was very much a young man when it affected him, and that ended, but put a big dent in his acting career. So there is a thing called Rocksteady Boxing. Since we're talking about Ali, this is an amazing thing. So you tell us how Rocksteady Boxing all came to pass.
Well, you could probably answer that question better, Paul.
Rocksteady Boxing originated in Indianapolis, Indiana, and there was a man there who was working for the government who noticed he had tremors and came up was diagnosed with Parkinson's. And he had a good friend who was boxer, and he said, "Why don't you come to the gym and work out with me?" And he did, and he saw a huge difference in his symptoms, and that's where it originated. I have a girlfriend who lives in Missouri, whose brother lives in Indianapolis. She's a nurse, and she was visiting her brother and saw Rocksteady Boxing on the TV back in 2007 or 8, somewhere around there. And because she's my good friend and she's a nurse, and she knew I had Parkinson's, she told me about it, and then hounded me for a couple of years to do something about it. But there was no gym around here offering it. Close enough. There was one on on the west side of Cleveland, but it was too far to drive. But then Canton put in a gym there. And I went to Canton 3 or 4 times a week for quite a while, and found that it made a huge difference in me and my symptoms, unlike any other exercise I'd ever done. My gait was better.
Can I share the first story, actually how we started, one of the first things I learned about Paula and how when our friendship started to really develop, she had shared at Rocksteady Boxing, she was driving to Canton, and when she would go to communion walking up the aisle, she would have to hold on to the pews as she walked up to communion. But after 1 or 2 classes of Rocksteady, she could go all the way up to communion without stopping to hold on to a pew. And to me, that has just always stayed with me. That was in one of our very first conversations, and about with her Parkinson's and her experiences. And because I was learning about her, and that's how I learned about Parkinson's. Everything I know pretty much is through Paula.
So what is the difference then you going and walking on a track and getting exercise or doing aerobics? What is the difference of impact of hitting a bag?
The intensity. We hit hard, and it's exhausting, and we get energized, and we produce dopamine, and we might move, our gait might, when we come in, is nice and slow, not nice and slow, not nice, but slow as we come in. And when we leave, we have kind of a spring in our walk. It's amazing.
So from the impact, explain that. First of all, before you answer that question, let me ask you this. You are a certified trainer in this, so when they come here to this class, it's not Shannon puts up a heavy bag and puts some gloves on them and then just says, okay, I'm gonna time it, go, you got 3 minutes, go. There is some method to this madness. You are a certified trainer in this, and
Yes.
and tell us how and why that comes to be.
Well, naturally, my interest stems from my love for Paula, and when she told me about it, I was even looking into becoming a Rocksteady coach prior to this opportunity, but there wasn't an updated time when I was looking. And then Doug Stein, one of the other owners of VSN, had reached out to me after Paula had cold called on Tim and Doug about bringing Rocksteady here to VSN. And Doug asked me if I'd like to be a part of it and get trained. And that was one of the quickest answers I could ever give. I was like, yes, absolutely. And so we had to do an online course for litmus training, basically. Boxing lingo was 15 rounds. And it was, it was a lot. It was a lot like pharmaceutical training a little bit. It has the information, videos. You had to take quizzes through each section. Then there was a test at the end of each round. You couldn't move on to the next round unless you passed the first round, and so on. And then there was a final exam at the end. And then we traveled to Tennessee for a workshop to complete our certification. And there we got to meet with some corporate individuals from Indianapolis that traveled there as well. A neurologist spoke to us more in detail about Parkinson's and what we could look for. And we got to interact with 2 different Rocksteady Boxing classes with the progressions of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 or higher, really. So, and we got to interact with them and ask questions, and because I knew we were invading their space, and because it is a vulnerable space to be in for Rocksteady. So it takes a lot of courage for those diagnosed with Parkinson's to show up and help themselves. And how it's come to be here is just when they come, we have to do, we have observers. You can come and watch a class. And then, but I've had people show up and knock on the door and just want to take a class, and you can't do that. They can observe, great. And then, but then they have to have an assessment. And the assessment is basically to find out their balance and stability and their fall risk. So we need to know, as a coach, is whether or not, do they need to have their cornerman, their caregiver with them? How much assistance do they need? And what extra equipment might we need if we would need a gait belt for somebody who's a little more progressed? So the assessment, it's all part of the compliance of the program, and it's important. And so then once they have to have the release from their family physician or their neurologist as well, prior to that assessment, so that they know that they're going to be participating in the class. And we need to know their medications and such. We have a file We're obviously not doctors, so we can't diagnose, but we are around them enough to notice differences or changes in their physicalities, or if they're moving a little slower, or if their speech. Then we ask them questions. We can pass it on to their caregiver. Like, we're just noticing this lately. When's the last time we've been at the doctor? So we really are in tune to our boxers, because we offer 5 classes. It's recommended that they attend at least 3, and consistency is the most important for them. But really, just when we come into class, it's all exaggerated movements to accommodate those cardinal signs. So as we mentioned, their gait is a shorter gait, it's a slower gait. So everything's swinging of the arms, it's high knees, it's walking plyometrics that any athlete would do. We just exaggerate the movements. And we usually typically do those in our warm-up, but then they can turn that into their daily activities at home. If they're walking up the stairs, they're gonna be more mindful of lifting their knees and lifting the other leg, which would be their trail leg, that maybe doesn't have the strength to do it. So we are very mindful in everything that we teach them. If it's a heavy ball, because the reason the boxing mentality is effective is because you work from the ground up. When the body starts, when they stop moving, it's just with any sport. When your legs get tired, your arms drop. So you need leg strength, you need butt strength, the glutes. So with boxers, they're the most fit athletes out there. So we do a lot of leg work, a lot of squats, a lot of lunges. They're in there doing planks. Blows my mind. I can't do a plank very well. And there's 80-year-olds in there doing planks.
I have to tell you, I briefly for 2 years fought as an amateur, and I know what training goes through when you're a fighter. And obviously now they're not in there sparring, but just hitting the heavy bag, the agility, because boxing, the foundation of boxing to be a good boxer is balance. You have to have the right position of when you're doing everything, and everything starts to flow after a while. I'm just overwhelmed and amazed, because I could see a little bit of what's going on back there as we're speaking, that someone who has neurological disorders can take all this coordination that you need to have when you're hitting that bag and accomplish that. And it's just amazing to me to see that back there and listen to you explain this on how all of this comes together for you. I can honestly see in the back of my mind, though, how all the coordination with the balance of doing all this really could help. The one thing I don't really totally get is the impact. What does that do that helps them with the Parkinson's?
Hitting the mitts, it helps increase cognitive function.
So you not only hit heavy bags, you're doing mitts too.
Yes.
Wow.
So when they're
And speed bags.
And speed bags too.
Yeah.
God bless you.
So the footwork
That's
helps.
amazing. That is absolutely.
You should see her on a speed
By the way, if you've never done this before and you have all your, and you're healthy and well, the amount of energy that you have to do to follow somebody catching mitts is a very, very tedious and exhausting thing. And to think that all of you in there are doing this, congratulations.
We're fighting it.
Yes, you are. You are beyond a fight. A man or a woman who steps into a ring to do battle in a boxing match is inferior to everybody in that room and what you're doing and accomplishing on a daily basis. I admire you. I admire you so much, because that's an amazing accomplishment. I'm sorry, but I had to.
Absolutely.
That's
I mean, yeah, what they are able to do, and just that you're getting to see some of it, it's empowering. There's magic that happens in that room. The camaraderie that is in there, they all come in from their own walk of life, their own background.
And at different levels, because not everybody's, I'm assuming not everybody has the same level of how they're afflicted with Parkinson's. So some might be less, like you said, you don't have tremors, and somebody else.
My Parkinson's is very mild, very slow progressing. And we've had other boxers that are much more advanced than I am, debilitated. But it's amazing how they fight it. We're punching out Parkinson's.
Punching out, that's a great way to, it's a great catchphrase for it. So when they're hitting the bag, and let's say they have hand tremors, when they're done, does it help alleviate that, or?
Yes.
Seriously?
Yeah, hitting,
That's
that
amazing.
helps with the tremors. The footwork helps with the balance. and the mitts helps with the cognitive function. So, and it's a comprehensive class, and even with from the warm up to the end, it all blends. Just even the side, the footwork of the balancing. If you're right or left, it doesn't matter, but the sidestepping and the tilting to help with the posture. And we always focus on posture. It's all designed to help them in their regular daily function.
So when you were trained to become a Rocksteady trainer, were you trained in the aspects of boxing or in the aspects of how you would like them to do it? Because again, everything's a case by case, because you made up an orthodox person versus a southpaw, and you have to know all this. And
That was part of our training.
Did you know anything about boxing before you got into it?
Not boxing, no. I mean, I'm athletic and not that coordinated, so it was a lot of fun. But no, we had to learn the mechanics of it, because the basic mechanics, and then the functionality of everything. So for their stance, because no matter what they're doing, they can always finish in a balanced stance.
Exactly.
So that's what we try to get them to become more mindful throughout their day. So through their consistency of showing up, and they are consistent, and they're upset with themselves if they're not here, and then they see a difference. But the consistency and the mindfulness through the repetition of it, when they're at home, they can share stories with you, how they would relate it back to class, and the things that they've done, just with the high knees and not dragging the trail leg. And
well, we have one young lady who's a boxer. She and her husband went to Brandywine to go. What do you call it on the tubes?
Snow tubing.
Snow tubing, and to get up to the hill, you got on a lift, but you stood on it, and there was no rope to hold on to. You just had to stand. And she thought, how am I going to do this? Because her balance was off. She said, I got in my boxer stance, I got down, and she did it. So we're able to take the techniques here and apply them to everyday life.
So how long is a typical workout session for you, Paula? Like when you go in there and the door closes, and how long does it last?
It's 90 minutes, but the first 60 minutes is the warm up and the workout.
That's very important.
And we do core work, we do balancing, and then the last 30 minutes is chair yoga taught by me. And some of the boxers, some of the men, told me honestly, when they found out there was going to be yoga, they were going to find a way to get out of it. but they've bought into it.
I'd be with them on that one.
Well, you can ask them about it, because they realize how it relaxes, and everything settles in. What your body's just processed. We just let it be in the moment, and we feel it, and it's really energizing and relaxing, and it's healthy.
So when you're on the bag, are you doing how many minutes of a round? Do you go by rounds? Do you do a 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute round, or just till someone?
Well, would you call them rounds, or?
Well, they're timed usually. Okay. If it's depending on if it's the warm up of the workout, it's usually for timing, for like 1:30 or 2 minutes or what have you. And we do different combos. It might be 1-2s. It might be the full combos, cross jab, hook,
rapid fire.
Reset.
Rapid fires.
I'm not messing with you. If you're going 2 minutes on the bag, I'm not crossing you in any way. That's for sure.
Yeah. And it's non-contact. I have to say that again.
Yeah,
it's not contact.
But you still, even though it's not contact, you're not sparring, but there is an impact against that bag.
Oh,
and
definitely.
if you're not used to it, especially when you miss, when you miss the bag, you could throw a shoulder. I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen, but that is a very tiring workout.
Yes.
2 minutes hitting that bag on a constant.
I hurt my arm a couple of years ago, and I went to a doctor, and he thought I'd broken a bone, but I didn't. I jammed the bone into the socket. And so he prescribed physical therapy. And when the bookkeeper called me to schedule my appointment, we got it all settled down. She said, now I have a question. This is a couple years ago. I see you're a 68-year-old lady. You hurt your arm boxing? And I said, yes, that is correct. But then I explained to her what it was, and lo and behold, her husband had Parkinson's. So I told her about the program.
And well, one of our original boxers, he is much more highly progressed, and it was really witnessing a miracle when he was hitting my mitts, because he could barely speak. He muttered mostly. He couldn't form words. But when he would hit my mitts, he could form words and complete sentences. And then once the momentum changed, he went back to the way he was when he came in, where he had trouble forming his words. And it just proved, I mean, it was an aha moment how effective it was just on the impact of the hitting. So for the cognitive function, because the neurons are firing and the dopamine is releasing. So it's very powerful.
How many days a week do you train?
Well, there are 5 classes here, and I attend all 5.
5 days a week.
And then I teach yoga somewhere else on a Tuesday, so that's six times a week.
Let me take one step backwards, if I may, here, and ask you a question. When you heard the initial diagnosis, when you were diagnosed, talk me through that a little bit.
Well, it was devastating. And I had had breast cancer, and being diagnosed with Parkinson's was much harder on us than breast cancer, because my mother had had breast cancer and she survived, and I thought, I can beat that. But I envisioned myself as Muhammad Ali or Michael J. Fox. But as a mild case, it's mild, slow progressing. I've got a phenomenal doctor who's prescribed a perfect cocktail for me, as he refers to it. And it's just devastating when you hear that you are diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, because you don't know what the future is.
Right. And how when you think of that, about the future, it also has to affect the family around you. And because your life at that point changes for the rest of your days then.
It does. There are a lot of things I can't do. We've got 4 little grandchildren, and I can't have overnighters because it's just too hard for me. I can't get down on the floor and play with them anymore. But I do the best I can, but it's impacted my relationship with my family. I'm originally from Kansas. I don't go home as often as I used to because the trips are hard. But I have a caretaker, well, not a caretaker, a husband. My husband, we've married 46 years, and he has not missed one appointment. He's the most supportive, well, you know how supportive he is. This wouldn't be if it weren't for him.
You mean the Rocksteady?
Yeah.
So he has a lot to do with this too?
Well, promoting it.
Helping you get it out.
Encouraging me. I got certified to teach it a couple years ago, and started looking for a gym to house it. And I was driving back and forth to Canton, and that got old, and he said, we've got to get a place closer here. And I made a cold call one day to VSN and happened to meet Tim's partner, Doug, and told him about it. And lo and behold, he embraced it. I'd been to a lot of places, and they said they just weren't didn't think that it would work for them.
And so how many people are actually here with Parkinson's taking part in the workouts?
It varies, on the day, but typically we have 12, 13 in our afternoon class. Sometimes, they're all going through something different at different times. But, and then we have our evening class, which is a smaller class. It's typically based on the medication schedules and how the day goes, on how progressed they are.
So in the Mahoning Valley, you said about 20 people totally then? Mm-hmm. Okay. I think in the Mahoning Valley, I could assume there's more people with Parkinson's than 20.
Yes.
They hopefully might be watching this and might get the word that this is something that they might not have heard about yet. So how do they get in touch with you to possibly be a part of this, to see if it's something that would help them?
Well, thank you for asking that, because the awareness is our goal, just so people are aware that it's here and the program's provided for them. They can contact VSN, just call, and then come in to observe a class. And then just see if it might be for them. And then from there, if they're interested, then we could do an assessment, we'd schedule an assessment and so on.
And we want to make sure too that the people know that this class is specifically for people with Parkinson's.
Exactly.
No other neurological disorders or nobody else that just wants to get a workout in. This is specifically, Rocksteady is for this purpose in its own, because it works.
It works. And the message I would like to share is, you don't have to do it alone. There's help. We're doing it together. And there are people here who care. One of my philosophies is, the only person I can control is me. I can't control any disabilities that I have, Parkinson's, breast cancer, knee replacement. I can't control that. I can only control how I respond to it. And I respond to fight this. I didn't sit back in my chair and rock and say, oh, poor Paula. I got up and I started boxing. I found something to do.
Was there a little bit of time, though, when you were first diagnosed that you had, it would
Well,
be human nature to say, why me and why do I have to
I didn't have
this?
time. I was a professor teaching at Mount Union College, and I was busy. And it got to the point where I didn't have time to exercise. And we decided that was more important than my working. So I really didn't have a chance to sit back and think, poor me, because I was so busy with work.
This is an amazing program, an amazing program. So how do you feel about your trainers?
Oh, love them. This girl's amazing.
Are you the only trainer here, Shannon?
No, Paula's also a trainer.
Well,
You could do the class.
I've filled in, but my goal is not to teach. My goal is to do.
And it has to be, when you talked about the other people in there, a community is better than solo.
Oh, absolutely.
So when you're there with like people that have the disorder that you have and you're doing it together, you kind of lean on each other a little bit.
Well, there's a camaraderie. Each one of us knows what it's like to be told you have Parkinson's and how that feels. Now, my husband knows what it's like to hear that his wife had Parkinson's, but I'm the one that has it. We have what I call roundtable sharing once a month. On a Saturday, instead of doing chair yoga, we sit around a table and just talk about things and what's bothering you, or what are your symptoms, or ideas to help you, and build a relationship.
Again, as I sit here and I watch behind you, I can see through the door and see what they're going on with the class right now. And I think in life in general, when things are passing by and we're busy living life on a daily basis, we take for granted the health that we have, and we find excuses for not doing the things that we should be doing to make ourselves better physically and mentally. And when you watch something like this, it really is an inspiration to anybody out there that's sitting back and thinking, I should hit the gym, or I should get on that diet and I'll start next week, or I just don't have the motivation to do it. And then you see what you are accomplishing here with Rocksteady and the amazing results that you're having with it. There is no excuse for anybody to put off till tomorrow what you should be doing
Well,
today.
we know it's effective, and we know there's people out there that need us. They need the program, and that's what we want to do, is share it to help people. Because I know what it's done for me, and it was doing.
Well, I saw it in your eyes, and you're not only doing it for you, you're doing it for your husband too, and you're doing it for your families. I saw how you teared up when you spoke about him. He must be a very wonderful man, and together you're both very wonderful people. And so there's not only that aspect of you making yourself better, but you making your whole life around you better. You're a wonderful person for what you're doing here. Both of you are. This program and Tim and his partner at VSN for taking this on and bringing this here. It's an incredible motivational story for everyone out in the audience. Again, thank your lucky stars when you don't have an affliction. I just told my daughter the other day, I had the flu for one day, and you don't realize things until you have something happen to you. Then all of a sudden you have that epiphany of, oh my gosh, I take for granted how good I feel on a daily basis. And when you got that diagnosis, obviously that this is a lifelong thing. This is not something that's going to go away at some point.
No, it's a progressive disease. It's progressive.
But you're all handling with such grace and devotion, and that's a great thing. So I want you to look into the camera, both of you, and I want you to make an appeal. If someone out there was watching and doesn't know about this and has Parkinson's, tell them why they should be here and doing this.
Well, you should be here and doing this because it works. And you don't have to fight it alone. There's people here who care, people who will support you, and you need us and we need you.
Well, here at VSN, it's special. It provides a unique community where they combine compassion and vision to help everyone become their best self. And with Rocksteady Boxing, the program that we have in place, with Braylon and Doug and Tim and Paula and myself, our goal is for that to be that room, or even if it's out here, that it's a safe space where they can be vulnerable, because it is a vulnerable diagnosis, and we want to breathe belief into the fighters that they can do it, and they do it in there. I don't know how they feel when they walk in that room, but when they get in there, they stimulate each other, and they do whatever they are instructed to do. They're doing the planks, they're hitting, they leave in a better mood than they're smiling when they leave, and they're more relaxed. And when you can see the change and how dedicated and the self-discipline that they have with themselves, and they trust each other in that room. And I don't know how else to put it, but there's magic that takes place in there.
One more question I don't think we addressed. When they leave that room, does it last for a while? The release on some of their tremors or their problems, or is it more of a psychological boost to them, or is it a physical and psychological boost to them?
I can't speak to that per individual, but the consistency is the main thing. So when they do leave, they do feel better. They're physically, yes, because just as anyone doing exercise, you're releasing the endorphins. So they do feel, I would like to think so anyway, that they are feeling better. And it's the consistency, so they can roll it over in their daily activities, because the camaraderie breeds confidence. And then they're more likely to go out. They're better abled and better equipped emotionally when they are out in public. And because one thing we discussed in my training was the demoralization that can take place when you're diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
It's got to be devastating.
As she said, it is, and it hits everyone differently, and it's okay to give yourself permission and sit with that for a little bit, but you can't sit for too long.
Right.
The neurologist that we listened to, he said from the day of diagnosis, go to a Rocksteady Boxing class and keep moving, get up out of the chair. And my goal as a coach in there is just to help them feel safe and just let them be themselves, no judgment. That's why we're here.
And I think it's very important that they know that it's good to have that attitude that I'm going to beat this and I'm going to do this, but it's even better to have the knowledge to know that coming to something like this, they have a trainer here that's going to make sure they're doing it properly and getting the most out of their effort, correct?
Yes, and Braylon does a phenomenal job, and with the techniques and the mechanics, because we teach them to get comfortable with the floor, because they're likely going to fall. And we don't want them to panic if they were to fall at home, out in the yard, or in the living room, or wherever. We teach them how to get down, get back up, or how to use a prop. And they'll discuss it at the roundtables, what works for them at home, the little tips and tricks. And but with our class, it's that breathing that belief and the confidence that they are still able bodies. And you see it, their discipline, their self-dedication, and their days of frustration with them. And I try to remind them, as we all do, just measure your own improvements. And every day is different. Do what you can do, go where you can go. It's your body, and that's part of
At their own pace, too.
Yes, at their own pace, and that's highly stressed in our training. Yes, we push them. It's tough love. We yell. We're like, oh, you're not tired. Don't tell me you're tired. No. You've got 10 more to go. Let's go, and we'll get down on the ground with them. So it's playful. It can be tough at times, but that's a big Rocksteady motto is tough love.
And again, I think one of the neat things about the sport of boxing, it's a mentally, people think that boxing is physical, and it most certainly is, but it's 99% mental because of what you have to do and to prepare and then to get into the ring and to fight another person. So the mental aspect of what they're doing in there, helping themselves, and from a frustration level too, there's nothing better than after a day of frustration of just coming in here, I bet, and just taking it all out on that bag there and getting out all that
We have one of our bags is a dummy. and we've named him Parker.
Parker.
And Parker takes a real beating.
Take that, Parker.
great.
But I'd like to mention that Rocksteady Boxing is global. It's in over 800 locations now, 12 different countries. That shows you how powerful, how effective it is.
It works.
It works.
That's the only thing you have to know about it.
It works.
I mean, you're living proof of that. And everybody else in there is
In
living
there,
proof
too.
of that, too. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you
Well,
so
thank
much
you.
for
Thank you.
informing our community exactly what Rocksteady is all about, helping them a little bit more to understand Parkinson's, and hopefully more of them if somebody is out there and seeing this. And one of the neat things too is when you come here, you could bring family, because we're going to take a little tour of VSN to finish off the show. They could go and their family could get a nice workout in, because this is a great exercise facility. It's a hidden gem here in Mahoning County, actually. And they could get a workout in while you're getting a workout in, and then
Sure.
you could go off and have dinner somewhere or
It's
something.
Blue Wolf.
And we do.
We do. We have a couple boxers who would like to talk to you as well.
Oh, great. I would love to talk to them. Some of the fighters, let's bring them in. Okay, we're going to take a little quick break here, and then we're going to be back with a couple of fighters.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Shannon.
Thank you.
Paula, excuse me, and Shannon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Okay, we're going to be right back. And we're back here on Locally Speaking. I'm here with Len Redmond. Len, you're actually one of the guys that goes in there and gets a good workout in here a couple days a week.
Yes, sir. This program has done an awful lot for me, both from a physical point of view and mentally.
All right. Now every case, from what we learned before, every case of Parkinson's is different. There's kind of really no formula for it, and it affects everybody at different stages. Yours is a little bit different. You were diagnosed 6 years ago?
Yes, sir. I had tremors and basically assumed it was a physical ailment from my athletic days and never put it together that it was a neurological condition, and went to Cleveland Clinic eventually, and they diagnosed it in 2014.
So you lived with this for a while before you kind of went out and sought help?
Yes, at least 4 or 5 years.
Really, that long? So you were having hand tremors for that many years, for about 4 or 5, before you caught on that it could be something more serious than just, you played sports as a kid, or?
Yes, I played basketball in high school and football and basketball in high school and college.
So you thought it might have been just the wear and tear on the body from back then, and you played also in college too, so played at the big boy level, so you took some punishment and put some hurt on your body during those days.
Yes, I was an offensive lineman, so every play I was
right.
hitting a 280, 300 pound.
So you were getting some action in the trenches there, and you just thought possibly this is just something that happens with an aging process, and never had a clue. That
Yes, my knees have deteriorated, and I go for treatment regularly for them, and just kind of assume that something was wrong with my elbow or shoulder as well.
And then you went up to the clinic and got diagnosed. What was that like when they first told you?
Well, it was close to the time that Concussion movie came out, and although I knew Parkinson's was incurable and degenerative, there was really some sense of relief in that it wasn't, your brain is damaged and there's nothing we could do. When I was told there were medical and physical things I could do to help slow the progression, I basically thought, well, it could be worse. but the disease progressed and the amount of medicine went very large very quickly, and the side effects of that medicine progressed as well. And that's when I looked into the deep brain stimulation, DBS surgery.
So this surgery is something that you just had a while ago. Now this is this is a regular brain surgery, correct?
Yes, I had 2 surgeries to implant the electric leads in here, and they ran a wire down to a battery pack similar to a pacemaker on my shoulder.
Okay, and this helps to stimulates
the dopamine that isn't produced as a result of the Parkinson's. And believe it or not, I couldn't do this yesterday morning. I just had the DBS turned on and I couldn't hold my hand still.
Really, and it helps you that much. So is this something that it does on its own, or it's a constant thing going on?
It's a constant electrical current that is programmed at the clinic, and really I'm learning the effects of it now firsthand.
And how would you say this is did you have any reservations when you found out about the surgery? Should I have it? Should I take this chance? Is it going to work?
Yes, when I was first diagnosed, my doctor referred to it as minor brain surgery. And in my version of the English language, those words don't go together.
Right, exactly. Oxymoron there.
Yes, and really both surgeries, I went in the night before, had the surgery on Wednesday morning, and was standing in the lobby of Cleveland Clinic Thursday morning waiting for my ride.
A one-day brain surgery.
One day, in, out, in.
Now help me here, because I've seen a brain surgery before on TV. That's invasive. Did they have to go cut the skull and go into the
Yes.
brain?
They ran a wire with an electrical lead to the section of my brain that I've been told is about the size of a Tic Tac. The target area, not my brain. Right. And
Well, you were an offensive lineman. Come on.
I said offensive, not defensive.
That's right. So they kind of knew going in, were there X-rays or MRIs that could tell where that particular spot was?
Yes,
So they
several
knew exactly
MRIs.
where they were going then.
Yes.
And then they went in but then they went down the side of your face?
No, they ran a wire outside of my
outside.
skull and behind my ear
Okay.
to the battery pack.
So they went underneath the skin though,
Yes,
and then
sir.
come down. And then, now you said you had 2 surgeries. Is that the process?
It was 2 surgeries, one to insert the left side, one to insert the right side, and then an outpatient procedure to put in the battery.
Wow. Now, since that, and how long ago was it that you had both operations?
3 weeks.
Oh, so you're a newbie on this then?
Yes.
So 3 weeks ago, when you were holding up that hand, give us an instance of what we would have seen. That's severe.
Yes.
And now we're looking at it how? That's an amazing thing.
Yes, I was really stunned yesterday. We went to lunch on the way home, and I insisted on drinking my pop with my left hand and was astounded that I didn't spill a single drop.
And for the last 6 years and some odd months or whatever, you've lived with your hand being like that.
Yes.
So this has to be just a miracle for you.
Yes, it is. I was told ahead of time the surgery was very successful, but it's almost surreal that I can use my left hand now, where 2 days ago before they turned the system on, I couldn't.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
If I make this statement, tell me if I'm wrong or right. 25 years ago, this doesn't happen? How long's this surgery been around?
I believe Cleveland Clinic has done it for about the last 10.
So prior to that?
Prior to that would have been more and more medication.
Wow. And was the medication that you were taking getting you to a point where you needed more and more, it wasn't enough? Or?
Yes. Originally, I was a 6-hour basis and went to 4, then to 3 hours. And recently, the effects of the medication wouldn't even last the 3 hours.
Wow. It's an amazing story. So things are looking up for you now.
Yes, I'm ready to get back in the gym.
Okay, so now you're going to go back. What does that do for you when you go into that gym and you work out and you hit that bag? And how does that help your physical being with your illness?
Well, I was always told that the best thing I could do was exercise. And when I did it on my own, I didn't always push myself as hard as I could. So to have the team of coaches that we have and fellow boxers to push me and encourage me has been really beneficial. But I think the biggest benefit I've received from this program is I had to stop working last March and spent 4 or 5 months sitting at home, getting more and more down and depressed at myself because I looked at so many things from the standpoint of, I can't do this. And one of the benefits I've got from Rocksteady, I know there's still things I can't do, but that this program has given me the drive and determination to at least try.
You're an incredible human being, buddy.
Oh, thank you, sir. But no more than anybody else in that program.
Well, you're an offensive lineman. We'll go back to that. You've been in team competition before, so you know the importance of what that could do for you. And being in that room with all those other individuals with Parkinson's has to be motivating in itself. And the trainers that I've met today that help you in there, it's just an amazing story.
Yes.
So I want you, before we go to our next segment, I want you to look at that camera. And if anybody's out there with Parkinson, tell them why they should be here.
This program is the best thing I have done since I was diagnosed with Parkinson's, both from the physical level and the emotional and mental levels, with the support, the camaraderie, and the togetherness that we share, especially even in the yoga that I did not want to do.
I already opted out for that. And you're doing the yoga?
Yes.
Good.
And find benefit in it.
Yes, because I wouldn't want to mess with Paula. I've seen her box now. I wouldn't want to cross her. And she does the yoga, you better do the yoga.
Yes.
All righty. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. That's an incredible story. I'm so happy for you. I'm so glad that you got dealt a bad card and you are making the best of it. And that surgery, literally, I mean, you got to be on top of the world right now.
Yes.
And thankful. Thank you for sharing it with us. And good luck to you. Now you got to go in there and hit some.
Thank you,
hit
Jeff.
some mitts. All right.
Yes.
All right, buddy.
Thank you,
take
sir.
care. Take care. We're going to come back with another segment here. We're going to interview another one of our fighters here at VSN with Rocksteady. We'll be right back. All right, we're back here at Locally Speaking. I'm here with Dick and Clint, and you are two fighters in Rocksteady here. And how long, let's just real briefly tell me how long it was ago that you were diagnosed.
Approximately 5 years ago.
5 years ago, and Clint, how long?
7.
7 years ago. And did you have either of you have any ideas going prior to that diagnosis that was something?
I kind of suspected it, but I really was shocked and taken back when the doctor finally diagnosed it, yes.
So, and how long do you think you were having the symptoms beforehand?
Probably a couple years,
Really?
yeah. Tremors and I just wrote it off as being nervous and really didn't want to face the truth. And
Kind of suspected
Yeah.
it maybe.
Yeah.
How about you, Clint?
Well, I knew something was wrong, but I didn't want to face it. I thought I was just shaking because I was starting to get old, and I got talked into having an exam, and when I did, and he told me, I cried like a baby.
How long ago was that?
7 years ago.
7 years ago
I
for
probably
you.
had it for 10 years, the doctor said.
Prior to that, really?
He said each case is different. He said if you've seen one case, you've seen one case. They're all different.
Everyone's different from the rest. And then can I ask how each of you old gentlemen are?
I'm 81,
You're 81, so you were diagnosed at 76.
yeah.
And how old?
I'm 72.
72. So in your 60s, then you kind of were
Just retired.
affected with it then. So you find out that you have it and you're going through medication like we've learned here, but then you find out about this program.
Yes, well, my daughter told me about the program because prior to that I was just sitting at home passing the time of day and didn't realize how bad I was getting.
Now,
My mobility was deteriorating.
Now, did your doctors tell you that exercise is a big key for you?
Yes,
Yes.
But you just weren't
yeah.
motivated enough, or you just
Wasn't
didn't?
motivated enough to do it properly. My daughter found this program and convinced me I should try it, and very grateful since then.
How about you, Clint?
Same with him. I sat on the couch feeling sorry for myself, and I saw a movie called Shawshank Redemption with Morgan Freeman,
Yes.
and he said, "Get busy living or get busy dying."
Exactly.
So I said, I got to get myself together, and I've been in this for a year now. And it
In the
helps.
Rocksteady program?
Yeah,
And
I
what
was
is,
the first one
really?
on the ground floor.
You broke it, huh?
I broke it.
So what has it done for you? Talk to me about, tell me about how you were before and how you are today because of the program.
Well, now I move, I feel good, my breath is better, I'm more ambitious, so I feel that I can do things I didn't do before, and just been all around very helpful. The doctors immediately noticed something different when I go every 6 months. She asked me what I was doing different. She was impressed with my progression. I've been here about 7 months now,
7 months, you come every day?
3 times a week.
3 times, how
Yes.
about you, Clint?
3 times a week. I come early and exercise an hour before I exercise, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it does.
The key to the whole thing is exercise. Riding a bike, dancing, playing ping pong, whatever you do, you got to keep doing it.
So when you go home, you walk out of the gym and you leave the hitting the pads and the gloves and catching mitts and all that behind. Do you do anything when you get home too to
I have a
exercise?
bag in the cellar. I go home and start beating on it again. Every day I work out. And,
It's a good workout for you, isn't it?
It is. It's, any hostilities you have towards Parkinson's, you knock it out with
You
it.
take it out on that bag. So you continue to work out. Then if you're not here, now, like you said, you weren't doing anything, but now you understand the value and how
Right.
much it affects you to
It is
exercise.
Very necessary to exercise. Your joints freeze up and you don't even know that you're your body is deteriorating. And it's all parts of your body, even the parts that don't tremor. Your knees, your hips, your shoulders.
So you probably realize that after you've done this for a couple months,
Yes.
you see what you've lost and how you're regaining it back.
That's definitely true.
Starting out, you were the first one. You said you were the first one here. I'm sure there's a little bit of a getting used to curve because you haven't done anything in a
Yes.
while.
Definitely a learning curve.
But hitting the bag is one of the best things,
It's
for even for
strange.
somebody without Parkinson's.
It's very strange because your mind tells your body what to do and it just won't relate to it. It just won't work. And you
After
have
a
to
while-
wait-
after a while, does it?
And you start getting it back again.
No.
And if you miss 3 or 4 days, it sneaks back. You got to get back into it again.
So you can't
You can't quit. Once you start, you can't quit.
You have to continue.
I don't think
Very
you guys would
necessary.
want to. would you?
No. We have the best bunch of guys you'd ever see. We all share. What kind of medication are you taking? What do you do? Do you get sick? Did this happen to you? And we all talk about it and we learn more things about our disease.
Right. There's no embarrassment because everybody is different and we all have the same problems. So there's no reason to be self-conscious about it or
And for what
versus going to a regular gym. You'd have tendency to be self-conscious. All these young kids running around and lifting their weights. And with this, there's no pushing. You do what your body will let you do
as much as you can.
as much as you can. But you push yourself.
But the
Do
bottom
more.
line is now that where you were at one time when you were sitting on the couch versus where you are today because of
It's night
Rocksteady.
and day.
Oh, yeah, night and day.
So you
Night and
understand and realize
Yes.
how much it's helped you,
Yes.
mentally and physically.
We learn how not to fall and we learn how to fall. Because that's the number one thing with Parkinson is falling.
You lose your balance.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the
Downward.
balance of hitting the bag really helps you out.
Hitting the bag, and then we exercise, walking different. High kicks, strolling, walking backwards, sideways. I mean, they really run the gamut.
So you have to
They cover all the
retrain.
bases.
You're basically retraining and reprogramming your brain to do all these things
Right.
through the sport of boxing.
I was up in the attic. I shouldn't have gone up there, but I went up there a couple weeks ago and I froze. I couldn't get out. And I remember our trainer Braylon saying how to roll, how to fall and roll. So I did. I fell slow motion and rolled and got right up. And I never would have thought, I thought my wife was going to have to come up and save me, but I saved myself through education from our trainer Braylon.
So when you leave here and you go home, you're kind of looking forward to the next time you come back
Yeah.
Definitely.
because you know what it does for you.
Definitely.
Well, thank you both for sharing your stories with us.
Thank you for recognizing
It's a
us.
great program, isn't it?
It
It
is.
is.
And one of the things that's astounding is it's not just the program here. I think Paula told us before that there's over 800 worldwide.
Yeah.
So it must be doing something right
It
for
is
people
doing
with
something.
Parkinson's.
Yes.
If there's that many all over the world.
Right.
And thank the great people from VSN for bringing it here so that all of you can take part in it and help yourselves out.
Very true.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank
you, Jeff.
Or Clinton, Dick, thank you so much for helping us. And I know you want to get back in there and
Yeah.
do some damage back there, right?
Yes.
All right. We're going to be right back and take a little tour of the gym because it's not just about Rocksteady here. There's a whole gym here. It's one of the hidden gems here in Mahoning County. We're going to be right back and show you all the great stuff they have here. And welcome back to Locally Speaking. I'm back with Shannon. Now, we've learned an awful lot today about Rocksteady, which is an incredible program for Parkinson's. And it's housed here at VSN, which is behind Blue Wolf,
Yes.
off of Route 224. It's a place you've never seen because it's behind it. It's off the beaten path. But this is a total gym, and it's open for membership for people to come in and work out. And you've got incredible equipment here. You do an awful lot with a lot of youth in the area.
We do.
So let's talk a little bit about the gym, what you have to offer.
Well, 24/7 access, and what's really unique about VSN is just the community we're our own little community here, and we have a diverse group of trainers, and they can specialize in their sports. So we have a golf trainer. When you walk in, you will see people on bands of all ages doing speed training, agility training, jumping boxes. They're over here on the cardio machines. You've got the golf. This is Rocksteady. The Rocksteady room also houses our golf trainer, and so he
It's
works.
like a is there a simulator in there, or
No,
just for, that's where you get your lessons at?
Some of them, yes.
Okay.
And sometimes we have to, he's been so patient with us because, he'll bring him out here while we're in there with our boxing. But it's really, the trainers here, they really are wonderful because they respect each other's time, the athletes' time, and there are all ages when you walk in here. I mean, you'll see retired age group, you'll see elementary school kids doing with the youth training programs, for lacrosse, basketball, track, whatever, there's baseball, whatever sport you want to enhance your improvement of your agility and strength, our trainers are very well equipped to do that. And if you're just here to watch your weight and nutrition and just get back into a regimen, a healthy regimen routine, we've got that available for you as well. So it's just been really nice. Everybody, it's just a vibe that we have here.
And how about physical trainers? And they're available to help out too?
Yes, they're actually scheduled. It's a lot of private training and scheduled youth training camps. And then anybody who has a membership can come in 24/7.
And you don't have to do that. You could just come in and work out
Correct.
on your own.
Yes.
At 7 days a week, anytime you want.
Yes.
Just come in. Once you're a member, you get a card or something.
It's a swipe card, yes.
Swipe card.
So you have access 24/7 to all of the facility that has to offer. And so it's really conducive to anyone's lifestyle. Because if you are locked into a job, X amount of hours a day or tied to a desk, but you still want to get that workout in, a lot of places are closed at 5 or closed at 8. And at VSN, they offer that convenience factor.
And VSN stands for Valley Sports and Nutrition, and they have that, a little bit of all of that here. You could come in here if you're involved in sports and you want to get better. They've got trainers to help you out. There's classes for virtually every sport out there. If you just want to get a good workout in, they pretty much have everything you need, from cardio to free weights to machines. Everything and anything is pretty much available here for any part of your body to get in shape. And the best part of it, it's 24/7. So there are no excuses for you not to come out and work out.
No.
If the people in that room that are at Rocksteady could come out and can't wait to get here, there's no excuse for you not becoming part of a gym and getting back into the shape that you're always talking about getting back into.
Right.
So right here is the phone number and the web address. You can visit it. If you want to come see you can visit their website, but if you want to actually come and visit it, it's right behind Blue Wolf off of Route 224. Just go around it and you'll see the big sign that says VSN, and come in and you can give them a tour.
Yep, sure can. And any trainer, they'll be wearing their VSN logo attire, or they can just ask anyone that they see, because it's pretty evident who the trainers are here. And but yes, when we have the lockers and facilities, showers, so they can, if they are coming straight from work, they can change and get ready and clean up after. So it's all a pretty comprehensive facility here, with the free weights, universal system, the private room if they want to go in there, our agilities, a speed training area, our cardio. So it's all available.
Can you get a boxing workout in too if you want to?
You can.
Bring your own gloves. don't hit it without gloves, but you could actually get a good boxing workout in there too.
We do.
All right, it's a great gym. It really is. You've seen some of the things as we've been talking. It has everything that you could possibly need if you want to get that workout in. And the best part is it's 24/7, 365 days a year. So it's a great place. Valley Sports and Nutrition, right behind Blue Wolf. Come and check them out. Visit the website. Here's the phone number, or come in for the visit. Shannon, thank you very much. Thank you for everything today, and thank you for telling all of us all about all the wonderful things that you do here for the people with Parkinson's and for the people in the area, and helping them out and keeping in shape.
Thank you. Well, it's
Do
a group
great
effort.
job. All right.
It takes a village, right?
Yes, it does, or a county or whatever we have here. But thank you for watching today, and thank you for paying attention. If you know somebody who knows if they know somebody who has Parkinson, or if you do and you weren't aware of this, please, by all means, come in here and find out more. Come in and watch one of their sessions. I think that it would be very beneficial for you to be a part of it. Yes. So that's it for today's show on Locally Speaking. Thank you for watching. Tell everybody you saw it and tell them to watch. They're going to learn an awful lot. I did. I learned an awful lot about Parkinson's today. And come to VSN, work out, be a part of this. It's a great gym here. Thank you for watching Locally Speaking, and we'll see you again real soon with another great episode. Take care and have a great month.